The new Spiral Abyss is here, bringing back old enemies, while also introducing new ones from the new region, and some of them might seem a little restrictive on which teams you can bring to the Abyss. This video covers strategies and tips to help you beat each chamber with ease. Keep in mind that these are recommendations, but nothing strict you have to follow in order to clear the Abyss, so you can always make variations to improve timings and get better results. And if there's something useful that I'm missing or mistaken, feel free to share in the comments. First of all, this Blessing of the Abyssal Moon increases shield strength, and a shockwave is unleashed when protected by a shield. This suggests better synergy with characters which can generate shields and Geo characters, and also some of the enemies for this season are easier to counter with these characters on your team, but as always, this is not necessary, and sometimes it's better to bring other characters which synergizes better with your units. On the first half, the most important enemy to consider might be the Cocosaur, because, as opposed to its counterpart in the overworld, when the fight starts, the Cocosaur enters into its golden flame form, gaining a pyro shield and a high altitude, so you will need something to break that shield. Fiorina is the best unit for this fight, as her skill can follow it in the air and apply enough hydro to quickly break the shield, and you don't have to even move for this to happen. But if you don't have Fiorina, you can force it to go lower and make use of other units with high hydro application, like Yelan, Cincture or Shai, in order to break its shield.
Quietly now. Here comes the catch.
The other thing to consider is the Golden Waffler, as it moves a lot in the air and upon reaching 70% HP, it will generate a shield that can be broken by fully charged each skull. This can be done faster with Geo application. So, Geo teammates and ranged units are the most suitable for this fight. Geo teammates like Shilonen, Navia or Kachina can be useful to break the skulls and buff your team. And units like Chaska, Wanderer, Fiorina, Nubilet or bow users can deal with the wolf even in the air. For the second half, we have the Primo Geo Bishop. Although it can be more comfortable to bring a shield with you, it doesn't make a significant difference, and you may want to focus your strategy on the second chamber. There we have the new Natlan enemy, the Tenebrous Papilla, which generates a shield that you want to break as quickly as possible. For this reason, characters that can deal a lot of elemental damage or deal Night Soul aligned damage are the better choices. Sub DPSs and Natlan carries are the best options, in particular Kinich, thanks to its multiple instances of Night Soul damage and the burning reaction. This is because burning applies multiple times on the enemy, so Emily and Shangling contribute pretty well to this team. Electrocharge with Ororon is another good choice, as he can also take down the shield pretty fast. On the third chamber, we have the Drake, so a bow user should be useful to stun it and reduce its resistance.
Be free. Time to say hello.
Many of the enemies in this abyss have a decent amount of resistance, although you can decrease it by using some mechanic, artifact sets or characters that can reduce enemy resistance like Viridescent, Debut or Shilonen are pretty useful. Finally, remember, these are not the only options. You can get creative and beat the abyss with a wide variety of units, and I'll show you some more on each specific chamber. The first wave of Chamber 1 has two Fluid Avatar of Lava, which have permanent Pyro Aura and high Pyro resistance, but you can make use of this aura to constantly trigger reactions. They usually come to you, so you don't have to think too much to get them group.
Here you are.
The next wave has two Eremite Summoners, the Pyro and Dendro ones. Upon spawning, they enter on their enhanced state, summoning a spirit of their respective element and gaining all types of res. If you have good AoE, you can deal damage to all of them at the same time, but try to stay in the middle of them so their spirits don't go far and you can deal damage to everyone at the same time. If you lack AoE, it's better to focus on the spirit first. In this way, the enemies become stunned, losing a high amount of their current HP and their increased resistance. The final wave has the Pyro and Hydro consecrated beasts. In this case, it's ideal to try to stay closer to the Hydro one. The Pyro one will rush to you once you are far. In this way, you can deal damage to both of them most of the time.
strong.
Well now. Flicker.
The second half starts with two Geo Bishops. Those will absorb Hydro and Electro, gaining permanent elemental aura and respective elemental resistance, and with this changing their attack patterns according to their element. But they don't have a lot of HP, so you can manage to beat them before they get aggressive.
Wind strike.
Then is the Primo Geo Bishop on its Electro variant. This one has increased Electro and Geo resistance. Blocking its charge attack with a Geo or Electro shield will cause the attack to rebound to the enemy, making him lose 10% HP.
Wind and cloud. Go. You're free now. Free.
Yeah.
Be sanctified.
Wind strike.
Silence. Justice is blindsided.
Clouds hide. The birds call.
Time to say hello.
Shake your hands, dirty.
Let the mighty be humbled.
Then, for the second chamber, the first half brings the Gold Flame Kukasaur Tyrant. As I previously mentioned, for this fight, the Kukasaur immediately enters into its Golden Flame form, gaining a Pyro Sheet and high altitude. In this state, it will perform two types of attacks. The first, shooting two waves of projectiles, and then dive down the Summon Flamewind Feather by the second wave. Destroying the feather will make him lose altitude, becoming vulnerable to melee attacks and allowing you to destroy the shield from the ground. If a feather is still intact, it will release a large AoE wave of damage, and the Kukasaur will return to the high altitude state, so ideally you should destroy them as quickly as possible. Or if you have Furina, you can just stand still and her companions will take the shield down. Some other units like Nubelet can hit the Kukasaur even in the air, but it's not as efficient as waiting for using Xingqiu on the ground or just using Furina.
Stand with me.
For the second half, we have a new enemy into the beast, the Tenebrous Papilla, or whatever. However, this one is different from the one in the overworld. When the fight starts, the plant gains a Void Ward for 13 seconds. This mechanic grants a shield that can only be taken down by hitting it at a certain number of times, but just with elemental attacks. This enemy shield has 72 hit points in the Spiral Abyss, and each hit reduces 1 point to the shield. Nexal attacks reduce 3 points from the shield, so Natlan units can be more effective to deal with the shield. Destroying the shield before the 13-second window ends will paralyze it for a small amount of time, and during that time, it will lose all type of resistance. Even after recovering from paralysis, its res will only recover by half. If you fail to destroy the shield on the 13-second period, it will release a massive explosion that instantly defeats your active character.
Right idea.
You can iframe this explosion to avoid dying, but the enemy will keep its increased resistance, which is massive. After that, it will mimic different bosses' attacks in a more aggressive way. Something to note is that while the enemy is charging attack, and on some instances during the fight, attacks will inflict attrition, a mechanic that deals damage based on the maximum HP of your character, after some time. This is actually what instantly defeats you if you fail to destroy the shield. As mentioned previously, Kinich and Emily burning, it's pretty effective to deal with the shield, however it's a pretty niche team. A more widely available option is Ororon, who combined with the Electro Charge and a good carry can break the shield pretty fast. Other units like Kali, Cookie, Kachin, Xingqiu, Yelan, Alhaitham, Sino or Chlorine specialize on dealing multiple instances of damage, making them good alternatives if you don't have Natlan units.
Clouds high. The birds
Be free. Tell me what you see. Let the mighty be humble. Settle down.
For the third chamber, the first half has the Golden Warfloor. As it is a flying enemy, it can be hard to hit with melee characters, but you can set up your characters right before he's going to attack to focus on your damage in a short period of time. Upon reaching 70% HP, and if the wolf is in the air, it will generate a shield and summon 3 refound skulls on each side of the arena. To break the shield, it's necessary to fully charge each skull. This can be done by using 3 instances of Geo application, or 38 instances of non-Geo elemental damage. Each skull will cause the shield to lose 1/3 of its durability. And when all of them are fully charged, the wolf will lose its shield and will remain stunned for an extended period of time. Something to keep in mind is that some attacks inflict corrosion. This could make it harder to survive, although it's not usually a problem. And the second thing is that, as the enemy must be in the air to generate its shield, you can try to keep it above 70% HP and wait until it performs one of the attacks that keeps it longer on the ground, like the ramming attack, basically when it crawls like a snake, or the laser beam attack. Furina is here as well a good option, because she can deal damage to the wolf wherever it goes. But for the same reason, ranged characters like bows or catalysts can also keep dealing damage most of the time. And finally, the second half has the Drake, which starts with high all type of res, especially physical resistance, so it's ideal to stun it before unleashing all of your damage, and not bring in physical characters. In order to stun it, you have to hit its weak points. While it's in the air, you can shoot on both wings, or while it's doing its charge attack, an additional weak spot on the chest will be exposed. Any of these options will cause it to fall to the ground, and become paralyzed for a small time, losing all its side res. While on the ground, it can also unleash a charge attack, exposing its head, to which you can shoot to paralyze it for a small time. If you don't do this, it will gain additional resistance and quickly recover to the air.
Witness the power of Gurwa.
Both characters are the best option, but there are other ways in which you can manage to take him down, like Kachin, Shiori and Alhaitam's skill, Furina's companions, and Xingqiu's swords. Some final statements. Every account is different. You may have characters builds who others don't, or weapons who others don't, or anything. So you should ideally try to use units that might be better alternatives for your specific case. However, I try to cover many options for all types of players. And finally, remember that you can restart any chamber at any moment and get the rewards separately, so you don't have to fully clear with one team in one run. So feel free to try different teams, and you'll eventually get it. Remember, Abyss cycles now last for a month, so you also have time to improve builds or level up some characters. And that's it for this video. I hope this helped you out and hope you enjoy. And if there's something additional you want to point out, to improve or to add to this video, please share it in the comments. I'll be reading all of you, and I'll see you in the next one.
Be humble. Bow your head.
Wind strike.